Hey, sister.
Hey, sister.
Join me, Courtney Lewis,
And me, Carly Ferguson,
in our conversational podcast about everyday situations.
You can count on us to tell it to you straight with our own sisterly spin.
Consider this a phone call with your own Southern sisters as we discuss with you personal accountability, healthy relationships, managing responsibilities, and contributing to society.
Each episode will consist of straight talk and a call to action.
Your sisters are calling.
Thanks for answering.
Welcome to Hey Sister. This is episode 34, Man, I Feel Like a Woman. We are so glad that y'all are joining us today. Carly and I are sisters by birth, but we really do consider all of y'all listening our sisters. Well, our sisters if you're women. We consider you our brothers if you're men. We really are believers that we are all children of God, and today we hope to talk a little bit about that in this episode. Man, I feel like a woman. Carly and I recently actually watched a documentary that talked about the identity of women. And we don't really want to dive too much into that because we have some mixed feelings about how we feel that documentary was done. But we
a little too hot for the hot topics.
Yeah, this isn't a reaction style podcast episode, but this is our hot topic series. So we want to talk about something that is important to us. And this is a topic that comes up regularly in our conversations, as will all of the episodes that we'll be talking about over the next couple months. This summer, we're going to be diving into some fun topics, some that might be a little more serious, but mostly things that come up regularly in our sisterly conversations off camera when we're not recording our podcast episodes. I do want to remind y'all that the resources, any quotes we might say or articles, as well as links to our social media are going to be included in the show notes today. So be sure to check out our show notes so that you can connect with us and find any resources that you may like or want to follow up with. As a recap, I want to remind y'all last week we did an episode called Fun Mom Summer, and I hope that y'all have been having fun and doing some fun things with your kids. Be sure to check out our social media where we'll be sharing our experiences trying to be fun moms this summer and doing fun things. And we'd love to hear y'all if you share stories or want to comment on our roll call posts on social media. We love to hear how that's going in your lives as well. Also, sisters, guess what? Over the last week, Carly and I actually got together and be together in person. As you heard last week, we recorded our last episode in person. But since then, we got to get together with our mom and our sister, and we had a fun, I almost said fun little girls trip, but I realized that makes it sound like it's like little girls. No, we had a fun girls trip over the weekend and we got to spend some time together. And this coming weekend, we're excited because it's Father's Day. So little shout out from us to our wonderful husbands and to our brother, who's a new dad, and to our own father. Happy Father's Day to y'all. We love you guys. And we're grateful that we get to be in your families. We love you. And we're grateful for our divine nature as sons and daughters of God together on this earth. And that's what we'd like to talk about today, Carly. So why don't you?
Yeah, totally. So the episode name is Man, I Feel Like a Woman. Thank you, Shania Twain, for that. Let's go, girls. Okay. So you really need that first word, man and woman, right? It's a pair. There are two. So a lot of our conversations on the phone, and I'm sure for a lot of you, you talk about how your spouse is doing something and maybe they did something a little differently than you might have. And so today we want to talk about how these differences, these unique traits are so important to us. And we know that they are given to us by God, who is our Heavenly Father. And as his children, he wants us to grow. So the opportunity to grow within our roles as man and woman is such a blessing. It's really the purpose of life. And we're grateful for that knowledge because it gives us a sense of peace and assurance and confidence, really. But it's not as easy as saying all girls are just all about pink and all about frilliness, because you do have a range. Like, men can be a little bit more feminine and women can be a little bit more masculine. Like, we're a little tomboy or we're a little more metro. Like, those things are just something we should appreciate about one another as part of our personalities and know that that's important too. So it just was something that we felt was important to say because there's a lot of different things going around to our kids, especially, which can cause some confusion. And so we, as the nurturers in our home, can help our kids feel nurtured in their own skin and who they are and help them love themselves because we love them for everything that they are.
Exactly. And Carly and I are Christians, and specifically, we are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So the beliefs that we have about who we are, and when Carly's saying being comfortable in our own skin, one of the things that we believe as members of the church that we belong to is that we are spiritually the gender that we are too. Before we even came to earth, that we were women, that we are female before we came to earth, and that we were given this body. When Carly's saying our skin, like our body is female or male based on the spirit that's housed within it. And I love what Carly's saying is that some women can be more masculine and some men can be more feminine, and that you can still have peace in knowing that you're a man or a woman, that you are a son of God or a daughter of God, knowing that even if you might be a more masculine woman, you can still be female. And if you're a more feminine male, you can still be a man, so we want to honor that's a gift, and that you can have that knowledge and that you can turn to God for that clarity. I want to share a passage from a belief that we have, and it says, all human beings, male and female, are created in the image of God. Each is a beloved spirit son or daughter of heavenly parents, and as such, each has a divine nature and destiny. Gender is an essential characteristic of individual, premortal, mortal, and eternal identity and purpose. And I love that quote that was taken from a proclamation on the family that is a truth that we revere as scripture within our religion.
And it was published in 1995, before any of this was a conversation, not as prevalent as now.
Right. And it's funny because not funny. I mean, clearly we believe inspired, because this document that came out, this family proclamation came out years before gender identity was a hot topic. And to believe that gender is an essential characteristic of our identities, both before Earth and after our Earth life, is something that might be considered controversial now, but we believe it to be true. And I love it because it gives me a grander feeling about my purpose on earth when on days like today, I sent a text message to my husband that said, I really don't like being a stay-at-home mom today. And I love my children. I love that I'm a woman. I am so grateful that I have a knowledge that I'm a daughter of God, but that doesn't mean that every moment I'm thankful that my kids come climb into bed with me and wake me up at 5:30 in the morning, or doesn't mean that I'm grateful that somebody forgets their shoes and we make it all the way to the park only to realize I'm going to have to carry a child across the hot asphalt in Arizona to get to the park. There's certain things that, and I don't know that that's so much a woman's responsibility, but because I have chosen to stay at home with my kids, that is my job. But there are moments where I don't particularly like my work as a stay-at-home mom. I don't like my roles as the nurturer in our family. And sometimes I laugh that Cam is more nurturing than I am. And I would like to take the reins more than he does sometimes, because we're both oldest children. And I think that has more to do with our birth order than with our gender identity. But I do think it's a huge gift to know that I am a daughter of God. And that's something that gives me a lot of peace in this world, and that makes me feel more confident in who I am. And I'm grateful that I can have that knowledge, because like I said, we don't want to make this a movie review, but the thought that I had watching that documentary was I hated the question, the title of the movie, What is a Woman? I hated that title because it made me feel objectified, that a woman is a what, not a who. And so when I turned that question into who is a woman, it actually made my heart just feel a lot more peace and calm than what I was feeling in that movie, which was a lot of anxiety and concern and fear. But when I asked who is a woman, it was nice for me to say, I am a daughter of God. I am a daughter of heavenly parents who love me and I love them. It was nice for me to feel that sense of peace about who I am, and also about my purpose, that I'm meant to be a woman, that I'm meant to be the mother of my kids, that I'm meant to be the wife of my husband. And there's a quote that I've heard, and it's been attributed to different people throughout history, so I don't know who said it first, but it's that there are two important days in a woman's life: the day she is born and the day she finds out why. And I love that quote, because I think it's not about if we get married or if we have kids. It's that we understand our purpose. And every woman's purpose is different. Maybe you're brought to earth to touch somebody's life and you don't know what that purpose is. But I do believe that we can come to know our purpose through our own personal journeys.
And we can all be so unique, because like even you read that quote, and sorry, like that might resonate with you. But for me, I'm like, what is it? What's the purpose? I have too many. No. I am not going to narrow it down like to one. And it's just funny how there can be, even within women, within the same family, we can be so unique. And I think what's been fun is, as a wife, I've been able to have conversations with my husband, who is amazing. And like today, we were even just talking about how I was really grateful that I could stay home with the kids. I mean, what a blessing that is. Like, so many would want that opportunity, because if you think back 10 years ago, it seems like it's gone really fast, that you look back and you're like, whoa, it's been 10 years since that happened. And one day we'll be 10 years ahead and our kids will be 10 years older. And it's a very different situation. And so it is hard. And I get that. It's probably why we get the cherish these moments, as you're like,
Right.
got the screaming child. And you just have to be like, yeah, this is part of it. But also, thankfully, my husband, he works from home, so he can come in and out sometimes. And he was saying, oh, like, I've been so busy. And I'm like, well, we've had this built-in opportunity for the kids to see you, even though you're back and forth between 10 different things you've got going on. But also, we are sharing it. We're a team. And thinking about it as a team, it's less about me and am I going to go and score the goal, because a goal for the team is a goal for everybody. And sometimes you do the work in driving the ball down and they get to take the shot, but like, you are sharing in the victory. And so now we're just learning in this life. You know, we say, try to teach our kids what's true, and help them understand who they are as children of God, because God loves them and he loves that we love them. And he's going to help us to coach them, to help them as they're young, because they're not able to make these kinds of decisions that right now is being told that they can. And
right.
We have to share that we love them. And the reason we're telling them these things is because we love them. And they just have to know that first and foremost. As we're playing together in this game, it can be so fun. It can be so exciting. And sometimes you get sideswiped and you wind up on the ground, but then you pick yourself back up and you can keep going, and you just cherish those moments too. So we're just so grateful for the men and the women around us and all of their unique personalities that help to make us all better children of God, more able to love those that are different than us, even if they don't believe the same things that we do, that we are cordial, kind, and would do just the same for them as we would to any other person. And if we can show our kids that, then they'll know that genuinely we are striving to help others in their understanding of who they are. This core need that we have as children of God is to understand where we came from and why we're here and where we're going. So we're grateful to have revelation like the Family Proclamation to the world, to us, and to our families, because it, for some reason, is getting pretty confused.
The world is a very confusing place. And I appreciate your soccer analogy, even though I've made it 30 plus years in life and I still don't know what offsides means. Don't try and explain it now, please. I feel like every time I watch my son, I'm like watching soccer and I'm like, I don't understand this game. But anyway, it's a fun game to watch. And I can understand your analogy of at least the goal shooting I can get. I do think that's a beautiful thing about a husband-wife relationship, is that working together and recognizing each other's differences. And the Family Proclamation actually explains the role of a man and the role of a woman within a marriage, which is a beautiful thing. So if you ever have time and you want to read that document, it's got some beautiful truths that are spelled out that, like Carly said, were revealed in 1995. And it's beautiful to see that those truths are still in effect this many years later, and what we believe to be true throughout eternity.
I think with that, our call to action should be to be grateful for our spouse's unique traits and how we work together as a team. We're both different, and we can be able to have a conversation and say, okay, you are better at cooking. Why should that have to be a pink job? You can rearrange within your own family situation on who does what better.
I like that call to action, to appreciate the gifts that your spouse has. And especially in honor of Father's Day this week, take some time to think about the gifts that your spouse has, when sometimes it becomes the natural man or natural woman's tendency to criticize. I know I've been there. Like I said, this week was one of those moments when I found myself feeling like, oh, being a stay-at-home mom is hard. And I am grateful for the opportunity to stay home with my kids. But there are moments when you find yourself maybe a little envious of your spouse's position, whatever it may be, whether it's they're the working one or maybe they're the stay-at-home parent. But Carly's shaking her head.
I'm not envious of that at all.
She's not envious.
Not at all. No, thank you.
Sometimes I miss my working days, if I'm being honest, but I do love my children and I'm grateful I get to stay home with them. And like you said, 10 years will fly by in a flash and I'll want these days back. I feel like that song, that country song, you're going to miss this. You're going to want that back.
Mm-hmm. So many country songs.
Yeah. Shania Twain and whoever sang that, you're going to miss this. You're going to want it back. But yeah, take some time to value your spouse and honor them and let them know what traits that you love about them, whether it's telling them in person or writing it down. Let your spouse know. So that's our call to action this week. Sisters, be sure to check out last week's episode about our Fun Mom Summer. And don't forget to also check in with us online at the Hey Sister Podcast on Instagram or at facebook.com/Hey Sister Podcast. We'd love to hear from you and connect with y'all and get to know y'all better. So join our communities online. Sisters, thanks for joining us today. Have a wonderful week and we'll see y'all next week. Happy Father's Day, all you awesome men out there. Bye.
My husband's much better at cleaning the toilet, so I told him he could do that if he really wanted to. That was a joke, Courtney.
I feel like because Steele just walked into the room, Carly's like, I'm going to start enumerating all the things I think Steele is better at.
Are you hearing that, honey? We're appreciating the differences.
Steele is quite good at taking care of children in the middle of the night.